Hello, everyone. Welcome to Seeing Blind. My name is Cindy. Thank you so much for joining me for today's blind community chat. I hope it's a good one today because this is a very common struggle and difficult sh- topic for a lot of us in the disability community, especially people like me who are blind and visually impaired and cannot drive. And so is there ever a day where we need to go somewhere and we have to constantly ask ourselves, okay, how are we going to get there? Who's going to drive us? How are we going to get a ride? And if we have families, how are we going to manage the car seats and the timing? And oh, are we going to be able to get back for, this meeting at the house? For example, there's times I've got doctor's appointments and I'm worried, okay, am I going to be able to get a reliable way home in time to meet my oldest at the bus stop. So lots of different concerns we can all relate to. It is a huge struggle, a major stress, a huge source of anxiety for many of us in the disability community. Like I say, it is not just individuals who are blind or on the spectrum of blindness that struggle with this. There are individuals with epilepsy, mental disorders, and such like that, um, other health situations that prevent them from getting a driver's license. I did see a super cool video, though, you all, the other day of a wheelchair user. And I think it was on TikTok. And she was given a little tutorial on this new smart van that she got that allowed her to drive basically with a joystick. And it was so fascinating to hear that testimony and to see what kind of technology is out there to assist certain paraplegics and others out there gain their independence. And it gives me hope because I'm like, okay, if they can drive with a joystick like they are, playing a video game, then, hey, maybe there's hope for those in the blind community as far as getting some reliable transportation and just finding more accessible technology, whether it's wearable devices or the that blessed day that comes when there's self-driving cars. I feel like that's what I'm hoping for is just a robot car that I can say, hey, take me to the grocery store, or oh, we time to go to the kids' school, and I just got to get in, plug in the destination, and off we go. Um, but yeah, so that is today's chat. I cannot wait to hear your all's experiences. And we're also going to discuss some solutions. I have been on the phone all morning. That's why I'm a bit late for today's stream because it has been a nightmare trying to find sources of transportation that is outside the box. I'm not talking just about Uber and Lyft, though those are great ride sharing sources when you're in a pinch, but they're expensive, especially if you have to take them daily, if not multiple times a day. It can get a bit pricey. And if it's not for a job or anything like that, that you can count on your taxes, it can get a bit tricky always relying on those ride sharing services. So I've been on the phone all day today and hit nothing but roadblocks, but I did discover a lot of potential options that could work for others, depending on your location, your county, your state, and all that jazz. So we're going to discuss that today, my friends, and just come together and relate as a community over this frustration, with the way our society is designed, the way our neighborhoods and communities are designed. It really does work against us in so many ways in this regard. And unfortunately, it really it puts a lot of pressure and burden on our loved ones. Constantly, my situation is my husband is the one and only driver for all four of us. We don't have any family in the area to kind of help disperse that responsibility. And so he is the sole responsible driver for everything. All appointments, he has to be the one to take off work for medical things, for myself and the kids, for all groceries, for all errands, for all medicines, for all shopping, for everything. And it can be extremely straining on them as well. They too are managing our disability in their own unique ways because of the shift of responsibilities and duties and tasks that they have to do because we are simply unable to do so. And so that's one thing that, my husband, he is just as bit as stressed out at times over it than I am. Even though he's the one behind the wheel, he's the one that's got to deal with the traffic and he's got to be, you know, as much as I want to say, hey, don't complain about that because at least you can drive. I ask many times for his compassion, and there's times when I feel like we have to give compassion right back and understand that driving is stressful, especially, like, when we just got off Easter break, and it's a 6, 7-hour drive back to our home, in Kentucky, and 6, 7 hours in traffic when you're tired, kids have kept you up, kids are screaming in the car. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of stress on them, and it's not like I can say, "Hey, honey, you've been driving 2, 3 hours. Let me give you a rest. Let's pull over and I'll switch." So many families can say that, and, because we cannot, again, our loved ones, they are also managing and dealing with this in their own way of stress and strain. So, with that little spiel out of the way, my friends, I'm going to get to the chat. I'm going to open that up here in just a second and see who all is with me. If you are joining me in the live chat right now, say hello if you have not already in the chat next to me, and tell me how's it going. Tell me, have you figured out a good system in your area for transportation? Are you happy with it? Or are you like me? You're in a very sticky place with not a lot of options. All right, I'm just going to, pardon me, blind moment. I have to access the channel on my other device so I can get my screen reader to read the comments. Okay, I think I found it. Oh, it says playback error. Okay, hang on with me, guys, y'all. Talk amongst yourselves just for a second while I figure this out. I just realized there's a typo in the title. Okay, I think I've got it figured out, my friends. Okay. So, okay. Oops. Okay. I think I've got the chat going, but I don't think anyone has chatted yet, which is just fine. I'm going to check and see how many people are with us. Okay, we've got a couple people. Okay, so we're doing okay. I'm going to hopefully just hope that a few more people have will pop on, but otherwise, you are so welcome to catch this on the replay, my friends. I'm sure this is going to give some good value, and hopefully, just comment down below. What your experiences are. If you're watching this on the replay, are you? Like I said, the question is, are you happy with your transportation options? Do you have a reliable and affordable option where you are? Or are you like me? There's not really an affordable option, nor are there any viable, reliable options as well. So I'd love to know that if in your area, and if you're happy with that. Do you think that our country, our states, our counties, our neighborhoods, all across the board, do you feel like we're the society is doing enough to address this situation? And like I said, this is a huge issue. It does not only solely impact the blind and visually impaired community, it impacts a variety of individuals with disabilities. It's not just us blind folks, if you will. So I can't wait to hear your all's comments. And I'm going to plug this note in as well, my friends. I do read your all's comments. I do see all of your comments. But between YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, and all the platforms that I post content on, it's very difficult for me to keep track of all of the comments and reply to every single one of them. So please note, I will try to at least give you a red heart and just know that I have read it. I acknowledge you and I'll do my best to respond to every single one every time, but I just can't make that promise that I have that time. So um, also, while I am also waiting for other people, I have two big announcements, just super super quick. So the next live stream that I do, my friends, is going to be the kind of sign up the beginning of the giveaway contest. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway for from Two Blind Brothers. They have a shop blind box. I'm going to be doing the minimum value. It's $28, so that's on me. I'm going to ship that box to you once when we just find out who the winner is going to be. You'll need to email me your measurements, like small, medium, large, extra large, wherever you are on that. And I think that's all the information I'll need to order you that blind box. But the next live stream I do is going to be the 1K celebration for the channel. I'm so excited. I'm so grateful for all of you who support my work here and just participate and watch the videos all the way through and like and all that stuff. Just engage and you guys are awesome. We finally reached 1K. So the Two Blind Brothers giveaway is going to be the very next live stream that I do. Or at least next week, I should say. It's either going to be Tuesday or Thursday. I am currently waiting on another guest to get back to me on scheduling. So that's why it's a little bit up in the air. I want to kind of give her first dibs on her availability. But so you'll want to make sure you stay tuned. Hit the notification bell, my friends. That's going to let you know when I go live, and that will tell you. You'll hopefully get the notification on if it's the live stream with the giveaway, and you can catch all the instructions to enter into that giveaway and just all the information on how long we're going to be doing the giveaway, like how long people have to enter into it before it closes. So that's the first one. The second one, of course, is and I'm going to be doing an extremely fun live coming up on TikTok Friday night, 9:30 Eastern. If you are on TikTok, and a lot of people either prefer TikTok or YouTube, it's kind of one of those, it's like the people tend to have pretty consistent preference for one or the other. And a friend of mine, Carrie from Carry On Accessibility, we are going to be doing a dual live together, and we're going to be playing the game Would You Rather. This is a very fun game as it pertains to the world of blind life, and we're going to be doing that Friday, just tomorrow, 9:30 Eastern on TikTok. So make sure you're following me on TikTok and you can catch that duel live. It's going to be super, super fun. Just a great way to unwind for the week. And if it goes super well and everyone enjoys it, we might continue doing that more and more on a weekly basis as well if we can. That's going to be over again on TikTok, so make sure you follow me there. You can access all of my profile, all my platforms and such on my website. They should be linked on the very front homepage of my website, and you can just click each one and hit follow, follow, follow. All right, so now then, so let's talk transportation. Now, if you live obviously in a larger city, a big, big city, you're going to have more options. That's typically where a lot of individuals with disabilities tend to find their best independent life is in cities where services are provided by the state. And there, of course, are federal guidelines that transportation services have to meet. For example, with fixed routes, like with normal bus routes that you see within cities. They have to, by law, federal law, ad- adhere to paratransit services as well, meaning that they provide in city uh, public transportation for individuals who cannot access the public general transit locations or get onto those buses. So if there's something about those that are not accessible, there is a paratransit service that's supposed to be offered as well. And that is a ride sharing service. Typically, from my experience in the cities that I have lived in, it is a ride sharing thing where you have to call typically a minimum of 24 to 48 hours prior to your appointment. And because it is a ride sharing thing, you have to be ready a pretty large window ahead of your pickup time. And you could be on that bus, it could take your destination might be 20 minutes away, but you could be on that bus an hour and a half, or something, because he's picking or she is picking up other passengers before they drop you off. And it's kind of like, you know, it's not a perfect system, but it certainly beats paying the individual fees that you would for an Uber or Lyft. Typically, paratransit services, they may ask you to pay a minimum, a very minimal fee of, anywhere from $1 up to $5. I think it just really depends on the city that you're in. One of the bigger, I'm in a kind of small to medium sized city right now, but I used to live in a pretty good medium one. It was about half the size of this one, so I guess this one would be small and the other one would be medium, I guess. But the medium one, it seems like the paratransit ride sharing service was about $3. And I would think that could definitely go up across the board depending on your location. So, paratransit services also do transport children with you as well, but you typically do have to provide your own car seats, which means lugging those things around. Sometimes I have heard of some paratransit services offering, if you call with enough advance warning or notice, they may have the ability to have a booster or something like that already installed for you, but I'm not sure if that is still current today. Um, I have never been in a location that offers that, but I have heard other people state that they have been able to request that in the past. Um, and there is certain states do have different rules regarding transportation of children. Sometimes they put a cap on how many kids you are allowed to bring with you, and um, sometimes also they may require that you install the car seat or the driver installs the car seat. They may have specific rules based on their trainings and such, and liability issues there. So just make sure if you are, if you're a mom, you're trying to take your kid to a pediatrician appointment, you'll just want to make sure you are on the up and up with the office regarding their procedures and policies, and that everyone is in compliance and you know what to expect. You also want to make sure you have plenty of practice time and are familiar with that car seat so that you can strap it in as quick as you possibly can. And you're not fumbling around trying to figure it out while you're on the bus, and other, transit people are just kind of sitting there waiting for you to get everything situated. So again, those are just good safety travel tips for any parents. Now, if, like me, you live outside city limits, this is usually a very common sacrifice that many of us in the disability community come to have to decide on when we have families. Do we want our children to go to a really good school system and try to shoot for the really good best district and school, and sacrifice transportation services and all the accessibility services? Or do you live within city limits? Typically, I don't want to use a like absolute rule here, but generally speaking, most schools within the inner city limit, inside the city limits, do not score as well as those outside in the county limits. Um, that's just how it was in previous locations we were and in our current one. And so we had to decide, okay, do I want to sacrifice my independence for my children's education, or do we go the other way around? And so, but that's what we did. We did move outside city limits, and I now do not have access to public transportation, but my kids are going to an excellent school. So, with that sacrifice being made, it has put me in a very difficult position where Uber and Lyft are pretty much my only option. And there have been times when I could count on those services and check that reliability box off. However, here lately, that has not been the case. Gas prices, as we all know, even if you don't drive, you are quite aware of the gas price issue, except for me because we just bought an EV. But uh, we we are all very aware of that, and so because of that, that has created a driver shortage. About, I don't know, 3, 4 weeks ago, I had a dentist appointment, tried to book a ride, and it was one of those things I try to schedule it like several hours in advance, and I still just, I could not get a ride. Could not get a ride because there were no drivers available. So had to cancel my appointment because I could not work out transportation. Now, when I was making, ironically, my low vision specialist appointment for my annual checkup a while back ago, they were like, "Oh, are you using Sethra?" And I was like, "Sethra? What the heck is Sethra?" Well, they said, "Oh, well, that's the medical, transportation for medical needs in the, southern counties of Tennessee." And I was like, "Oh, well, no, no, ma'am, I have not heard of Sethra, but this sounds so promising. I am so excited and thrilled because Uber and Lyft is so unreliable these days." Well, y'all, I have been on the phone all day, all morning, trying to figure out the Sethra program. And while this wonderful receptionist is correct that it is for many southern counties in the state of Tennessee, the very one that I happen to be in is not on that list, ironically. And you can't get any more southern than my county in Tennessee. We border Georgia. And so I was like, oh my God, what are the odds? What are the odds? If Murphy's Law is working against me right now, y'all. I'm like, oh, of course there's an option, but oh, wait, it's for every county except the one I'm in currently. So, once again, but that SETHR program, so it stands for, I don't know, it's an acronym for like Southeastern Transportation County Regions of Tennessee or something. I don't know, but it's like the Human Resources, I think, Department of the state. But check with your state government website. Check your state website for transportation and see if they have any tabs, any services, anything related to medical transportation. Okay, non-emergency transportation, and just do a little digging. A lot of states do provide medical transportation. And so it does take a little bit of digging. They don't advertise it in like neon blinking letters or anything like that. A lot of times, unfortunately, you do have to dig for these programs. And sometimes a simple Google search is not going to bring them up either. They're kind of buried. Why? I don't know. But I have discovered that in many of I've lived in 4 different states, and a lot of them, I remember this. I've had to kind of really dig for some of these services that I qualify for. So do some digging under the Department of Transportation within your state and see if there happens to be any medical transportation, or it may say non-emergency transportation. Um, Now, you may find some private agencies in your area that do this. A lot of them may work with senior living or independent living organizations and homes and businesses and such. And when you call them just as a private individual, they will say, "Oh, you need to go through your insurance company." Yes, that is true. Insurance companies do also cover medical transportation. A lot of them do. but not all of them. And guess what? Does my insurance cover medical transportation? Strike three for me. Again, I called my insurance company this morning and they said, "Oh no, we're so sorry. This is not included in your policy." I used to have Medicare, a while back when my husband was not able to provide. He did not have employer insurance at the time. He had his own private policy, so I was on Medicare, and I could access, I believe, their medical transportation. So if you have Medicare due to your disability, Part B, that is the kind of the medical office visit, then you'll definitely want to check to make sure that medical transportation is an available option for you through your insurance company. So simply call your insurance company up, speak to anyone regarding benefits of policy, and just simply ask if you have within your benefits medical transportation to and from doctor visits. So, and again, that will still maybe cost you something, just but a very minimal fee based on, very affordable compared to Uber and Lyft. So I'm going to check in with the chat and see if anybody. Okay, hang on. Hey, hold on. Hey there, who's this? I don't think I think, are you new? I'm not sure. I don't know if you all can hear my voiceover or not. Oh, and I forgot to slow it down, so it might be a wee bit fast. Welcome to the chat. Remember to mark your private in there. Austin Beetle, how are you? I'm great. How are you doing? Austin Beetle, how are you? Austin Beetle, how are you? My bouncing nuggets, is this real or not stuff? Question mark. Austin Beetle, same line, have you ever heard? Have I ever? Austin Beetle, same line, have you ever heard? My bouncing nuggets, I just read the description. I'm on. Flow back. Hi. Welcome to the chat. Remember to mark your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Learn more. Button. Custom emojis. Button. Chat message input. Okay. Cindy Schaffer. Ellipsis. Text field. Okay. So I guess we had some people in and were, I guess, just not. This just chat was not what they thought it was. So that's fine. Goodbye to you too. All right. So back to the discussion. So yes, check with your insurance. Now, so what my insurance company said, because I asked them, I was like, well, this is kind of like, I know a lot of insurance companies do provide medical transportation. May I ask, why is this not included in my policy? Or how can I add this to my policy during the next enrollment period? And she said, well, ma'am, this is insurance through like state. Your husband must, work through kind of state, which he does. He's at a state college, community college. So it's like just any kind of state government worker or anything like that, they have their health insurance provider. And she said that, it is dictated, your benefits are controlled by the state and what they approve and disapprove, I guess. And so she's like, you have to go through what did she call it? The benefit administration for the state of Tennessee. Excuse me. So I was like, okay, interesting that I have to go all the way back to the state to advocate for medical transportation. So here we are, and that's where I am currently at, my friends. I am getting ready to advocate the fire out of my butt the rest of today, all of tomorrow, and probably all of next week. I'm going to be on the advocacy train, and we are going to toot our way all over this state government if I have to, and get them to hear that in this area, in this region where I am currently, depending on their insurance, if they have a different insurance than myself, there is zero transportation options for medical care outside of an ambulance. Zero. Unless you get Lyft or Uber. But really, seriously, if someone needs to go, has appointments, like just say once a week. Or, and that can include your children as well. So I'd say good once a week. If I'm not going, one of my children are going. And that's a lot of money for Uber and Lyft to and from. And now that Uber and Lyft is unreliable, it's unacceptable. The state of Tennessee and my specific county can do better. And this is a very large, prosperous county. There is absolutely no reason why there should not be some sort of um, public transportation for individuals with disabilities and assisting them with medical transportation, if especially if you live with outside city limits and you're still within the county limits. There should be some kind of program, subsidized program. And I'm more than happy to pay 5, $10 even. I mean, it still beats Lyft and the $30, $40 that I might be paying with Lyft and Uber by the time I add in tips and stuff. So, um, to pay those prices every single time, and that's not even including, all the non-medical transportation needs that we have. That's solely medical transportation only. So we're looking at well over I'm spending almost well over what people typically spend on gas. If someone's spending, anywhere from 100, these days on gas right now, yeah, I'm beating that in transportation costs. So, for Lyft and Uber. And when and get this, when drivers are short on Lyft and Uber, they will charge a premium. They will jack that price right up because there's high demand. And yeah, it's extremely frustrating. I wish Lyft and Uber could find a way of maybe getting contracts with insurance companies. They're clearly not mine, but it would be great if they could actually be, maybe a have some kind of contract with insurance companies to be a medical transportation service as well. And you could select that, like, specifically, this is, I'm scheduling this for medical transportation specifically, and then you would put in your insurance information and your insurance would be billed, and then you would pay just a flat fee. And just like, city transportation services would be. Anyway, so that is my spiel. And I'm really curious if anybody is inspired, like myself, to research the disability transportation services for medical needs in your area. And if you find that there are not a lot of reliable and affordable options, would you be willing to join me on this advocacy train? Because I feel like this is one of those things where they will states will not budget for it unless there is a need. But if no one speaks up and advocates, how are they ever going to know the need is there? Right? So we have to let our state government politicians know, our representatives know, everyone. I mean, send as many emails as we can, just copy paste to whom it may concern, because that's the only way to get the word out. Unfortunately, it's that you have to advocate. And so the only way I see this ever changing in my area is if enough people stand up and say, hey, every other county has managed to provide these services for the individuals with disability except the county I'm in right now. And, it's not okay. It's not okay. So, after all, hey, we're all paying taxes, right? That's what our tax money is. I mean, that's one of the things it's supposed to be going for and going towards. Okay, I'm going to check the chat one last time, my friends. And while I am doing so, just remember we're going to be doing an extra fun, lighthearted live on TikTok tomorrow night at 9:30. I'm going to be doing a dual live, dueling it out with Carrie from Carry On Accessibility. We're going to be playing the very, very fun blind game of Would You Rather. So that's going to be super interesting and fun. Let me get my voiceover on. YouTube. Video player. Page 1 of 2. Okay. In there. Austin B. How are you? Page 2 of 2. Flow back. This is a good one screen. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. If you've missed any information so far, my friends, just you're welcome to go check the playback. I feel like I've kind of done a huge kind of unload dump on everybody thus far this morning. So, welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your privacy in the Wi-Fi. Flow back. This is a good one screen. just check just check the replay for all the information. Okay. Okay. I wonder how my peoples are at from Ray, where are you at? And everybody. But I've got a good number, six of you watching, so I really appreciate that support. So tell me, does anyone are you or a loved one in the disability community, can you or and I'm not, you know what? I just realized, silly me. This is I can't believe this. I know a lot of people, they have no disability at all, but they have a financial burden and they are financially unable to have a car, own a car, or own multiple, a car per parent. And so it's, again, one car for the entire family. And it's due to financial restraints and stuff. And so many Americans, since the pandemic, since there's a lot of jobs out there right now, but I feel like still because of the major inflation that we're seeing right now, still a lot of people are really struggling financially, and that is another barrier for transportation needs. And let me tell you guys, I lived in South Korea. I haven't talked much about my experience living in South Korea, but this is one area that pretty much every other country that I've been to, maybe I mean, I think Canada, I can exclude Canada and from this, but especially Europe and Asia. I'm going to say that Europe and Asia. I've traveled a lot, y'all. My husband loves to travel. That's his big hobby and passion in life is travel. So I have tagged along. And it's been wonderful. It's been stressful. It's been a lot of anxiety, a lot of adapting, but I've learned so much. And let me tell you, when we lived in South Korea, I lived there for a year, transportation, they get an A plus 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 and then some, because their transportation, number one, we lived in a small city too, a very small rural village kind of thing, place in South Korea. So we were not even in the like big like Busan and Seoul and stuff. We lived in the southern part of the country, about an hour two train ride from Busan, but it was a rural area. And let me tell you, their cities, the way they are laid out, you could pretty much walk to any place you need to go. There's always a little, grocery store on the corner. There's restaurants everywhere. The way they zoned is not like so broad and sprawling where here's a huge sprawling section of neighborhoods and then you got to drive 20 minutes to the sprawling retail section of the city and then you got to drive down 20 minutes to downtown where you get to like the historical stuff and the museums and all the and it's like if I really appreciate South Korea because they did not do that. They don't zone that way. It's very walkable. It's extremely walkable. The entire country is so walkable when you get to just a main civilized, constructed area. Now, their train systems are to die for. They are killer. They have the bullet trains. So you're going 200 miles an hour and you've got like a glass of water on the table in front of you and you don't even see a ripple. Don't even see a ripple. There's no, I mean, I can't even feel a vibration most of the time. And so we would go on these bullet trains and go clear across the country in just a few hours, going 200 miles an hour. It was freaking amazing. So easy to travel. The train systems, their technology was always is I mean, I don't want to say more advanced because every country has pros and cons, things they're better at than others, and yada, yada, yada. I mean, every country has their weaknesses and strengths when it comes to technology. But at the time, this was about 10 years ago when we were in South Korea, banking was a lot easier, transferring money was a lot easier, paying for things was a lot easier because of their payment systems, the way that the technology and things that they had. Like for example, if you were checking out at say if you were at a restaurant. So I just did a restaurant hack video on TikTok, right? Did really, really well. Everyone was like, wow, that's a great restaurant hack. And I was talking about their call system that they have implemented in a majority of the restaurants all through Asia. It's not just in South Korea. I mean, we saw it in Japan, we saw it at other places. And basically, at every table, they would have a call system. It might be a light, it might be a bell, it might be some sort of call system. But that was how you um, basically told your waiter or waitress that you needed assistance. And that way, they weren't bothering you every 5 minutes. And us blind people didn't have the struggle of trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I wave my waiter over when I can't see them or know where they are? But they also have every waiter and waitress carries around a little handheld card machine where you don't even have to they don't take your card away. It doesn't even have to leave your hand. They just hold up this machine, you wave your little card around, and there you go. Dinner paid for. No buttons, no nothing. They'll ask you, how do you want your receipt? Do you want it? Do you want me to text it to you, email, or do you want me to print it out right here? I mean, it was just this little handheld gadget. And I'm like, why? Why is this not in the States? That was 10 years ago. 10 years ago. But anyway, I digress. So back to transportation. They have nailed it with their trains. Their buses are about the same, except they have cards. So basically, you can purchase like a card and you just reload money on it for the public transportation. So instead of feeding cash or giving tickets, the way most transit systems here in the States still do, I think tickets and or you have to literally feed a machine cash for your bus ticket, or purchase it prior. They have a card that you could just reload every month, and it's super, super easy. You just, again, wave that card as soon as you get on the bus, and voila, easy peasy. And so, yeah, their transportation system, they've got it figured out. I've never experienced more freedom regarding transportation than ever, than when I lived in South Korea. Because if I couldn't walk to it, I could easily wave my bus card, I mean, I could easily figure out the routes. Now, I didn't always know enough Korean at the time to communicate with the bus driver, are you going to Hwangsangdong? And it's been a long time, but I didn't always have that. So I really did have to do my homework regarding the bus routes. But other than that, there weren't really, I mean, there weren't even half the number of accessibility issues that we have here. So kudos to Asia for making that so accessible. I really kind of do wish at times our train system that we didn't let that go in our country. All the train tracks and stuff and all those things. If we had just maintained those, y'all, 1:03 p.m. Knowing and seeing how other countries have made it work and have maintained their system and implemented it as part of their public transportation services, whether it's within city, out of city, out of state, cross country, it doesn't matter. It works in every other country. And why we didn't maintain ours in this country to be of better quality, standard, and usable. I mean, they used to be passenger tracks long time ago. Now they're just cargo. And even that seems to be diminishing. Okay, let me see if anybody is with us. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the by our community guidelines. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the page 3 of 3. Learn more button. Learn more button. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the by our community guidelines. My phone keeps I guess it's on low power mode. So it keeps going. It keeps exiting out of the stream. Welcome to the chat. Page 3 of 3. Page 3 of 3. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the by our community guidelines. Learn more button. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the by our community guidelines. I gotta. Welcome to the chat. Remember to start your privacy in the by our community guidelines. You can probably. Oh, by the way, this is just how I have to make my screen super crazy big, but it's like you would think by enlarging the text on my phone super crazy big that I would be able to then hold it farther away from my face. No, I still have to put it right up on my daggone nose to see the screen. And yeah, that's another big complaint, another big issue for another day. Am I right, my friends? All right, so not a whole lot of activity in the chat today, I don't think, unless I'm missing it. So, um, so if you have any questions, if you want to add any other solutions that you have found in your experiences, my friends, we would love to learn from them. A lot of these programs we only know about them by word of mouth. Like I said, they are not advertised. You have to dig to find a lot of this information out. And so please share any tips, any knowledge you may have in the comment section down below. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so that you can catch future live streams. And I'm just gonna keep covering these types of topics related to the disability community, especially with the kind of hyper focus on the blind community. And yeah, I'm also going to be having guests more up here as I get my ducks in a row with scheduling. The Easter holiday really kind of threw me off, and just some family health concerns have thrown me off. So I'm hoping to find a routine again here soon. And once again, we'll be getting some guests back on. So if you are interested in joining me for one of these blind community chats, feel free to email me at seeingblind101@gmail.com. I think my next guest that I am hoping to schedule here in the next week or two had a stem cell treatment for her blindness. And so we're going to talk to her about her experience with some experimental procedures and surgeries and how she felt about it in the long run. So that's what the next blind community chat is going to be on, stem cell treatments. And yeah, if you're interested, let me know. And if you have any comments or questions for that topic, you're welcome to put them down below, and I will make a note of them for that stream when we go live with that guest. All right. Other than that, my friends, thank you all so very much for joining me. I'm going to sign out now. I appreciate your support and watching, and feel free to share this video with anyone you feel could benefit from it, or add any additional tips and tricks in the comment section down below. Like I said, community really here is the best way to gain some of the tips that work, find the programs that are out there, and assist each other with these big struggles. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Blessings to you and yours.